back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. We just had a very interesting discussion on women entrepreneurs with Uday Dhoot, or in fact, for that matter, all entrepreneurs. But now I think we should bring the spotlight back to women entrepreneurs. And who better than to lead by example? So we, on The Money Show, decided to bring on board 3 such ladies who are really leading when it comes to their respective businesses. So let me one by one introduce everybody. We have Riya Mahajan of Pink Elephant right here with us in the studios, followed by Ruchi Bhagat of Ruchi Be the Label, and Mitali Patel Shah of Archeon Corporation. So good evening, ladies. Thank you so much for removing time from your busy businesswomen schedules and joining us on The Money Show. Just to set the context, and the whole idea is that our viewers learn by example as to how you guys kickstarted your journey in the world of entrepreneurship. So just to set the context, I want to just understand what you guys do, what your companies do. So Riya, I'm going to start with you first. Tell me a bit about Pink Elephant. It's quite a funky name.
So Pink Elephant is an animation and design studio. We started around 8 years back. I used to freelance before that, and then we started creating explainer videos for corporates to explain your business or your service. These videos are actually it's a very niche market, and when I started, it was a very niche market at that time. And over the years, we have built quite a portfolio. We also make creative graphics. For your marketing requirements.
Okay. And Ruchi, what about you? If you could just give a brief introduction. I know you're going to be very busy over the next couple of months, I suppose.
Thank God for that.
So tell me a bit about you.
My name is Ruchi, and I am the founder and the creative head of Ruchi Be the Label. This brand came into being around 5 years back, when I realized there was a gap between good quality designer wear at affordable prices. So my target was to come up with different silhouettes, good designs, but not compromising qualities. So I would definitely tell I am an affordable designer wear. Okay. And yes, the journey has been amazing. I supply to stores all over the country now.
Okay. All right. And finally, Mitali, Archeon Corporation.
Yes.
What does that do? How do you play a role over there?
So, Archeon Corporation is a turnkey packaging solutions company.
Okay.
So, basically what we do, we deal mainly with the pharmaceutical and the healthcare industries. And what we do is accept the actual medicine. We produce the drug delivery mechanism and the medical applicators, everything that goes around it. So, say you're talking about a nasal drop bottle. Yeah. We'll do the bottle, we'll do the nozzle, we'll do the tube inside. Okay. And that's what we do. So it's my family business. Okay. And yeah. That
sounds a bit more complex and a little more difficult to understand comparatively. But that's the whole thing, right? I mean, women are making their mark even in businesses that were traditionally known as, being in a man's world, etc. So I think that's great. Okay, you know what, Riya, I'm going to start off with you first. Like you mentioned, or rather actually, I'm going to start off, Ruchi, with you, because you mentioned that you were in job earlier, if I'm not mistaken. So you were salaried, you had a 9-to-5, or in many cases 9-to-9 job, you had a steady salary, etc. coming in. So was it difficult, the whole transition from being in a job to, getting, becoming your own
So
employer?
basically, the transition, I would say, was difficult to begin with at an individual level, because of course there was no steady income for a while. And also, I was now the CEO, the creative head. I was also the admin person. I was also the clerk doing odd jobs, because it was my baby, right? So I would say it took a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication to put in. But having said that, it was daunting initially, but then I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Okay, I can imagine that. What about you? I mean, you worked abroad. And I'm sure the work culture abroad is way more different as opposed to what you see in India. So was the transition difficult?
I think every transition comes with its own set of hurdles. So for me, I had been doing business development across various fields for about 7 years before I joined my family business. And I think the experience and the exposure I had I was working in Mexico. So I really understood the business culture, the work environment, the culture of the people, and I decided that, my company back home can probably flourish in this market also. So the transition was definitely difficult because Here, especially when you're talking about manufacturing, it is quite a man's world there. So it takes a little bit of a thick skin and a lot of patience to be heard, but you do get there. And I think, you know, once people start seeing that you're serious about it, you know what you're talking about, and you can make your mark, and it's a great feeling then. It's very fulfilling.
Okay. Ria, you know, you mentioned you were freelancing before this.
Yeah.
So I think you were sort of used to the fact that, you know, okay, 1 month's going to be great or 1 week's going to be great and then week 2 is not going to be that great. So you are used to the vagaries or the fluctuations of, you know, money coming into your bank account.
Correct.
So how did you deal with that? I mean, was that something that was tough?
I was an artist. I started off as an artist. I didn't actually start running a business till my dad pulled me out of the house and he was like, you need a space for yourself and you need to start, you know, building your client base and you need to start building your, like your staff, which is how you will build the business and grow the business and therefore create a steady flow of income and a steady you know, steady money coming in. So that's actually what I started doing. I started organically growing the company. So from whatever jobs I used to get, I would reinvest that into my company and then hire people slowly one by one to the point where now we're a team of 15 people and the work has been organically coming in over a period of time because we have developed the reputation over a period of time. So it was a little difficult. There were good months and bad months, but we plan it quarterly rather than monthly. So I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to hit monthly targets.
Okay, all right. So you think that helps maybe when if you're planning perhaps in a little longer term as opposed to one monthly or weekly. What about funding? You know, like you mentioned, your dad pulled you out of the house and said, okay, you need your own space. And then you, of course, you have employees, so you have to pay them a salary, right? That's almost like fixed costs. So Ruchi, is funding a problem? I mean,
so to be honest, if you've made up your mind that you want to become an entrepreneur, I think you're already mentally prepared that, listen, your next, 3 years are going to be difficult. Having said that, if you ask me personally, I have worked quite a bit before I started Ruchi Be the label. So, and I worked with the intention of saving up, to be honest. I wanted to put in all the money that I had earned over a period of time into my business. Also, I feel as young or women entrepreneurs, it's very important to sort of plan your business in a way that it's sustainable. Make smart choices, take very calculated risk. For example, I started out from a garage. I did not want to increase my overheads at that point in time. I started out with a part-time tailor because I had to decrease my overheads some way or the other. And yeah, so it's a very gradual process. So I would advise everyone to not just go all in, not put all your eggs in one basket. Take a very gradual approach to your business, and I think that's the way to sustain in today's age and time.
Okay. Now, Mithali, coming to you, yours is very different because you didn't start off a business. You had to find your way in an existing business and more importantly, in a family business, which we all do know is usually unorganized, works in a culture that worked perhaps 2 generations ago. And now you're trying to expand it, take it into different directions. Is that difficult to do?
So I think that one thing that I learned along the way is that a business, like I'm third generation in the business. So a business that's been functioning for the last 50, 60 years has been doing lots of things right to survive and thrive. So I think it's a bit of a give and take. While I can bring in new processes and maybe like technology, it's also very important for me to understand what they've done right and why it's worked for them. And I think that balance has really taught me quite a bit.
Okay, all right. And okay, would you as well have some advice to any all our viewers out there that they should do a certain list of things before they decide to kickstart their business? I mean, let's say if you had to tell your younger self something that, you know what, I should have probably started off my business or I should have done X, Y, Z things before I started my business. I'm talking from a money point of view. I mean, is that something you look back and say?
If I can go back in time, I would invest the money that I had made then, and I would try to grow that money rather than put it back into the company. I would try to grow that money so that today, if I, for example, don't land up meeting my targets, I still have responsibilities towards my staff and salaries to pay. I have a backup. I have a, like a a
safety net,
a safety net for them. And I actually did start doing that a couple of years down the line. I started investing the money to grow that money and kept that aside for all my overheads per month.
Okay, so you wish you had kept that safety net, which
Yes.
you perhaps did not really rely on. What about you, Ruchi? Anything you'd like to tell your younger self before you started the business?
So, very personal. So, I was a very confused teenager, to be honest. I would definitely tell my younger self and all the young aspiring entrepreneurs out there that try your hands in different field. Only will then you know what is it that you like and what you don't like. So I have done a couple of things which has helped me learn a lot, and which involuntarily I have applied in my business. I've applied in my personal life now. So all you young women out there, go try different things before you settle down on one thing.
Okay. Mithali, what's the biggest challenge, according to you, that women do face in being a businesswoman or starting a business? I mean, is it because many times we hear this complaint that this person does not take me seriously, and I think almost everybody has faced that. Like, I mean, almost every woman has faced that this guy is not taking me seriously.
That's
my
definitely-
complaint, at
no.
least.
No, that's definitely a challenge, and I don't think there's much you can do about it. You just have to have a thick skin and a lot of patience, and you have to fight tooth and nail. And eventually, I'm really hoping that things are changing, and especially when, like I'm saying, in my field, I mostly deal with middle-aged men. There aren't too many young women
True.
in the field, so you just have to stick it out.
Okay.
You
You just have to. Okay, all right. Yeah, what about you, Riya?
I'd just like to add that you've also got to let your work speak for itself.
Yeah.
So you know what people see on the surface is a different persona, but like maybe when they see your work and your work speaks for itself, they start taking you more seriously, and they start then you can overcome that.
I think patience is key, because we're, as millennials, so used to instant gratification for everything. That's not going to happen. You need to know mentally that you have to wait it out. And you really have to prove your mettle. And yeah, that's exactly what you're saying.
And I feel one of the main the main crux of the challenges that we as women entrepreneurs face these days is the socio-cultural stigma, the kind of norms the society has formed about the role of women in the society. Thankfully, I feel it's changing a lot now, and I think in today's age of India, I think we are at a very good time to conduct business. I think we should make the most of it, and also I feel there should be a policy where there should be ease of doing business in terms of getting funding, in terms of networking.
Okay, all right. Very quickly now, you mentioned there should be ease of doing business, etc. Now, this brings me to a very interesting topic, and that is work-life balance. Many times people say that, I want to start my own business so I get my own time and, I can be my own boss. But it's the biggest myth, folks, because let me tell you, if I'm salaried, and I hope my boss is not listening, I can switch off my phone post 8 o'clock and, just relax at home with family. But business women cannot do that. So, Riya, how is it that, now that you have your own business and, you've been into business for the last many years, how would you like to bust that myth for us?
Well, let's just say I can never keep my phone off. I have to be answerable to everybody. I'm answerable to my clients, I'm answerable to my staff, I'm answerable for my work, I'm answerable for my company's reputation. So it is a lot of responsibility, and the best way to deal with it is just to I guess if you have the love for it, if you have the love for running a business, if you have the love for seeing, this amazing work come out of your studio and people appreciating it, and the fun that goes along with that, then it makes it worth it.
Okay. And Mithali, what about you? Because you're in a family business, right? So one would assume that, it's a family business, so it's okay. Would you say that?
So when I came back from Mexico and I decided to start working with my family business, I had a clear agenda of expanding the business into Latin America, and that was for us earlier an untouched market. So it's not like that, because I was doing everything from scratch. I am doing everything from scratch. And while I have a lot of support, which is obviously great, and I have a launch pad, you have to figure it out on your own. Like she said, work never sleeps. So
Okay, myth busted, guys. Don't think that becoming an entrepreneur is going to be a cakewalk. It's difficult, but I suppose everything has its own set of challenges which you have to grapple with. And yes, at the end of the day, like these ladies said, you have to let your work speak for yourself. It'll shut everybody up, including middle-aged men who do not want to speak to you. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on this very special day. And I wish you all the very best in your entrepreneurial journey. I hope, folks, that you've been inspired by whatever you've heard on this edition of The Money Show. Do write in to us with your feedback, criticism. I'm hoping positive when it comes to this show. And, of course, what you'd like to see on The Money Show at ETnow.tv. We'll wrap it up.